Hey guys, so Bergenstein here with a pub match breakdown. You guys have been requesting a few more of these, showing how we go into pubs when we actually try it. Those of you guys who watch the stream know, oftentimes in pubs we just run in, try and get our damage out, get the credits, get the experience, and get up on the next tank. But this is a match where I actually really try to play the 5100 correctly on Siegfried line. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at what tanks I'm going up against. I see that there are actually very few tier 8s in here. They have the Artie, they've got a Roomba, a J-Panther, a Super Persian, and an IS-3. So in my 5100, I'm going to be very dominant. I'm going to be able to burst through a lot of these tanks in just a few shots, so I need to play very conservatively. Let them come into me, make sure that when I engage, I'm going to engage where they're out of position and I can get my shots into them and kill them. Generally, that means that I'm going to be looking for tanks out in the field. Now, because of the way this map is laid out and the fact that it's assault and more attacking, that's just not going to be possible. If I could get them in the field, it'd be an easy 6 shots into someone, but I'm going to have to fight people in the city. So that means that I'm going to want to try and catch them in crosses, possibly track them, get back shots on them where they have nowhere to run, or flank, so that if they go forward, they move into the tanks that they're looking at. If they roll backwards, they're going to roll into me. If I can do that, I'm going to be able to effectively empty 2 to 3 shells out of my magazine and get a lot of damage out before I have to get into a reload. I have this light tank who's moving ahead of me who I'm going to use as a scout tank. As he drives by, he does get a spot on the tank that looks like it might be AFK in their spawn. I'm going to try and line him up and get shots, but I don't want to overexpose myself. I know that there are probably more tanks on that G-line, and if I just push up and try and unload my magazine on that AFK tank, I'm going to take a lot of damage in return. Now, I do end up seeing some tanks moving. I'm able to get a back shot on him as he goes. I fire that before my reticle is ready, because if I wait any longer, it's a guaranteed miss. He'll be behind hard cover. If I fire early like that, I have a good chance of hitting, and you did see I picked up that hit. Now I see this TD back here. I should have backed a little bit earlier. I really didn't want to trade that damage because I only got 1 shell into him, but I was able to get 1 into him. I move back up, and I'm going to see if I can pick up that kill. I line him up, he disappears, and I don't take that shot because I'm spotted, and I don't want to take any more 1-for-1 damage. When I'm playing my 5100, or any autoloader for that matter, I try and make it a rule of thumb that I never want to trade 1 shot for 1 shot. I have lower alpha than many tanks. Compared to an IS-3 which has 390 average damage, I've only got 300. The IS-3 also has more hit points, so anytime I'm trading 1 shot for 1 shot, I will always end up on the low end of that. However, if I can start trading 2 shots or 3 shots for 1 shot, my 300 damage turns into 600, and I'm going to end up ahead. If you can do that in every engagement, you will always have positive damage. So try and avoid those 1-for-1 trades, especially because when you do go for that 1-for-1, you're not guaranteed that hit. If you shoot something and it bounces, you get no damage out, and then you're way behind on HP. At this point in the match, we are way behind. They have 7 kills, we've got 2. I did just see that Tiger 1 destroy the T-29, so I know I can push him and get the kill on him, and hope to even this out a little bit more. Now, at this point in my 5100 in pubs, I don't like having only 3 shots. If I meet a big tank, I'm not going to be able to 1-mag him. I may get my 3 shots out, but I'm going to have to run, and he's going to get a couple more shots than me. So the idea of retreating for an early reload is going through my head. However, because I'm dealing with a low-tier match, I'm not going to do that. I know that because there are 6s, 7s, and 8s in this round, that I can probably finish a tank with my next 3 shots. And we do end up seeing one. He's running away, and I'm able to get the kill on him. Had I taken that early reload, that tank probably would have gotten away. Now, with only 1 shell left in my magazine, I am going to exit this city, run away, and get into my reload. That's 48 seconds to get me back into a 6-shell position where I can 1v1 tanks and get out of here alive. Another rule of thumb I have in my 5100 is the more reloads I can get through, the more successful my round is going to be. Now, it'd be very easy for me to stay in town if I had the support, but we are so far behind, I'm taking this complete exit so that I can hide for 48 seconds, get my reload, and re-engage. It's so important when you're playing an autoloader like this that you find a safe position to get through your reload with. I have absolutely no defense until my reload is up if I get pushed. It can be a slow tank with a slow rate of fire. There's still going to get 3 to 4 shots off on me during that reload that I can't do anything about. My armor's too thin to bounce, and I've got no way to do damage back to him. Now, I do end up seeing a couple tanks over here, and I'm going to try and flank behind this guy. I do have a TD engaging him. I know that he's not looking at me, so I go in there. Unfortunately, my shot is half a second too slow. The other guy gets the kill, but the important thing here is that tank is dead, and we're bringing this match back within striking range. My next goal in this match is to figure out where my engagement needs to come from. I see that they have several tanks actually on the point. That means that I need to go in there and try and get some damage off without being shot myself. As I get closer, I'm going to use third-person spotting to see which direction those tanks are facing. I see one tank head off behind a building, so I know that I can pull up a little bit here. I see an IS-3, and he is looking at my crosshair, so I cannot push that. I'm going to continue looking at that IS-3 and see that he turns his gun, and he's now looking towards the west. That means this is my opportunity to strike. Now, he just fired, so I can push up, and I can take this TD, and I can make sure I get that kill. The IS-3 turns to look at me, I get one shot off on him, and then I'm gonna back. If I stick around for another shot, I risk being hit myself, and again, that 390 alpha damage from the IS-3 is just too much for me to absorb right now. In my mind, I'm debating going back to engage that IS-3 or not. If I can get him to turn his barrel, I might be able to get some more shots into him, but with only 3 shells left in my magazine, I'm not going to be able to kill him. That means that I'm going to disengage, because if he pushes me, he's simply going to do too much damage without me being able to kill him. If I was going to absolutely 100% kill that IS-3 and he was only going to get one shot off of me, I would probably stick around. I'm not, however, so I decide to run. I move into an area where I might be able to flank him, get a couple more shots off him, and get a reload, but I get spotted by a TD. And I really don't like this position I'm in for being spotted, because the IS-3 could flank around my south. I could get pushed from another direction. I believe that there is a Pershing spotted on the 5 or 6 line, so I'm going to make sure that I don't get in a position where I can be shot from all sides. That Super Pershing does pop up. I take a shot at him. I take it early so that I can maybe get a hit on him. I don't penetrate, but I do track him, which exposes his underbelly, and I'm able to kill that Super Pershing. Again, bringing this round just a little bit closer. You'll notice here, I fired 5 shots and I take a reload again. There's just not much I'm going to be able to do with one shell. I don't want to put myself in any kind of aggressive position where I can only do 300 damage. That means I'm going to run away back into the same place you saw me take that reload earlier. I've got Nafe, who's moving back from the west side of field, who can help cover me, and I need to get through this 48-second reload. Once I have my 6 shells back, I'm going to be able to actively engage and burn down tanks and beat that IS-3 if I meet him 1v1. If you've forgotten, this is the assault game mode. That means that if we don't capture that flag, we lose. We only have 3.5 minutes left, so we have to start posturing ourselves for a way in which we can either kill every tank or get on that flag fast enough. Now, realistically, the cap takes so long in assault mode, we're probably not going to be able to cap out, so that means that we have to kill out. I'm going to take a flank. I've been pushing from the south almost this entire match, so I'm going to come in from the north and try and catch some of these tanks from behind. I'm hoping that I don't get spotted by Artie on the north side of the map in that forest, so I'm going to hug this wall and try and get into a position very quickly where I can do as much damage as possible. Nafe calls that he's spotted, so I'm going to take a wide late turn in here, even though I did want to go down the 8 line for my entry. I turned left here, trying to distance myself from Nafe so that if Artie hits, it doesn't hit both of us. That Artie does actually come down, almost get some damage on us, but it doesn't, which is really going to be quite a big deal in this engagement. I'm going to watch one direction, Nafe is going to watch the other. This way, neither of us get flanked in the back. Now, Nafe sees a TD, I start turning for it to help him, but then that IS-3 comes up on the map. When the IS-3 pushes, I'm going to attempt to track him. I don't get the track, but I do make sure I get some penetration damage. With 5 shots in my magazine, I'm going to be able to push back on that IS-3 and get the kill. Now, that miss was really, really bad. I should have been able to kill this IS-3 without taking any damage. I fire a little bit early, and I give him enough time to get one shot off on me, putting me within 1-shot range from several tanks. I try and help Nafe out there. I get my 1 shot off. I know I don't have time to aim that, so I run as soon as I fire and narrowly avoid getting killed. The track I got on the TD leaves him there long enough for Nafe to finish off the kill. Nafe is going to end up going down to their tier 6, which means that we have a 2v2. Now, in a lot of situations, I would take our side as the advantage here, but because this is assault, I don't have enough time to cap, and I have to find both these tanks, and I'm in a reload. That is only going to leave me with about 1 minute and 20 seconds to find and kill 2 tanks. I know that one of these tanks is in the city, and I'm assuming that the Artie is north in that forest because that's where it spotted Nafe. As soon as I get my reload, I need to move, and I am actually going to start moving out just a little bit before my reload is done. That way I find this tank with the most amount of time possible, and I'm going to try and get that kill. As I push into the courtyard, I do end up seeing him. I timed that perfect with my reload, so as soon as I get that reload, I have the shot, and now I've got 1 minute 6 left to find this Artie. This stage of the game simply boils down to, can I find their Artie, or can he hide from me? Because of that, I'm going to move on to the east side of this forest and hope that I can catch him moving towards the west. The east side is going to give me great shots. I won't have to turn my barrel. I think it's going to yield the best shots if I do find this Artie. Now, the Artie that we have left alive is going to move down that 1-2 line, and he's probably not going to be able to spot anything. Even if he does spot it, he's not going to have enough time to kill it. So, our sole hope for winning this is me pushing into this forest and finding their Artie and being able to kill him fast enough. Fortunately, I am an autoloader, so even if I find him late, all I have to do is get 2 shots into him, and I'll get him. If I was in something like an IS-3, which would also be slower, I'd have to find him and have time to reload, and I'm actually approaching that point where that wouldn't be possible. As I drive into the forest, I'm going to get lucky, and I'm going to spot that Artie right there. I line him up, and my first shot actually racks him. The second shot would have killed him anyways, and that would have been a win either way. So with 4 seconds left, this round ends, and we get a win. Looking at the statistics, I'm able to pick up my Mastery Tanker badge, my Top Gun, and my High Caliber, which means this is a pretty good round. It yielded 60,000 credits, 2,053 experience. Looking in at the damage numbers, I come in at 3,864 damage on 7 kills with 1,369 unadjusted experience. Moving on to the screen with the important information, you can see I fired 18 shots, I had 17 direct hits, 16 of those were penetrations, so I whiffed one and I didn't pen one. I was hit 5 times, 5 of those penetrated, so I didn't bounce any shots, but in a 5100 it's very difficult to bounce shots. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Do remember I have started streaming again. You can check that out at www.twitch.tv/ZoidBergenstein. If you enjoy these YouTube videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and follow me on Twitter at ZoidBergenstein. Anyways guys, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in my next World of Tanks video.